Okay, so welcome back to this course. So in our previous videos, we have worked on our authentication. And now in this video, let's start working on our address. Okay, if I go back, we have here add new address. And we also have display all the addresses of the user in the user profile. While buying the products, user have to select his or her address. Okay, so let's handle the address in this video. So in this video, we will create our address model and get all the addresses, create new address, and then display all the addresses here. Okay, so if I go back, let's go to our backend. In the models, I get a new model that is called address.js. Okay, and to save some time, I simply copy this from here and put that here. So I don't need here bcrypt, and also I remove these fields. Okay, and also this one. Okay, and that is going to be the address schema. So I'll select here address. So I type here address as well. Okay, so first of all is going to be street of the address, that is going to be type string and required true. I just type here true like this. Okay, then I copy paste this couple of times. We have here address, street, city, then we have here state, then we have here the phone number, then we have here the zip code. Okay, so zip code, and then we have here the country of the address. Okay, and after the country we have to also save the user that has created address. Okay, and we will add that later, because in my upcoming videos I also have to protect the backend API routes. Okay, in my previous video I have protected the front end routes, but we also have to protect our API endpoints. Okay, so I will add that later once I will protect my API routes. Okay, so I simply save it from here. Okay, and this is our address schema. I close this from here. Now let's go to our controllers, create a new file. I will call it address controllers.js. Okay, now in here I will simply export const new address, and that is going to be async request response, and then I will type here const address is going to be await address, and that is going to be the address from models slash address. So I type here address dot create. In that I will simply pass in here request dot body, and then I will simply type here res dot status, that is going to be 200, and then dot json. I will type here the address that is created. Simply save it from here. So this will create the address and save that in the database. And now let's go to our pages API and go here in the API, get a new folder address. Okay, in that I get a new file that is called index.js. So what I do here is I actually copy this from here. Okay, and we have to use here post and then new address. Okay, I will remove this from here, simply save it. This is our endpoint for that. Now we have to simply create that from the front end. Okay, so I close this from here and this from here, and also actually I have to create here the error middleware. So what I will do is in my next video I will also protect my endpoints from the unauthenticated users, and also I will create my error middleware to handle my errors. Okay, so right now let's go to our context. In the auth context I will use my create a function. You can create a separate context for the address, but I will use that in the auth. Okay, so I'll simply type here const add new address. In that I have to pass in here the address that I want to create. So what I will do is I will use this try catch just to save some time. I will set the error if there is any, then I will send the post request to slash API slash the address, and I will pass in here the address as data. Okay, so if data exists, then we will push the user to slash me. Okay, save it and I think so that is it. I will simply add this to here, save it, and now we have to create my component to add the new address. So I close this from here, I go to the components, create a new folder here, let's call it user, sorry, new folder, uh, oops, that is going to be a folder in the components, so that is going to be user. Okay, so now in the user I create a new file, let's call it new address.jsx. So new address.jsx. So I go back to my here and open my Git repo. I go to the source, in the components, in the user I have here my new address.jsx. Okay, so I copy that from here, go back and put that here. So you can see that I have a package that is called country list that will get all the list of the countries. So I will use here object.values, pass in here these countries, so it will get all the countries list here. So I have simply used that country list right here. I will map through on each country and display that country name like this in the drop down menu. You can see that here. Okay, we have added option here. So now let's install this package first of all. So I copy that and install that, the country list, npm I country list, let's just save, so it will install the package. And now I will also restart my server, and now I also have to actually don't use here this sidebar, so I will remove this from here. Okay, and also I will remove this from here, I think so, and also this main, save it. Okay, and for the endpoint, so I simply go to the page, create a new folder here, I call it address, and I call it, let's create a new folder here that is called new. In the new I will create a new file that is called page.jsx. So my endpoint is going to be slash api slash address slash new. Okay, so I will simply put the code here, and that is going to be new address page. So new address page, and here I have to use the new address like this. Okay, and again I will also protect these endpoints in my these backend endpoints in my next video. Okay, simply save it from here, and now we have our new address page ready. Okay, so I close this from here, and also now if I go back here, you can see that I have given the link of slash address slash new. If I click here, you can see that here we get our new address form. So address, city, state, zip code, phone number, and we don't get here the layout because we have created that layout only for slash me. Okay, so what I can do here is I can simply get those back. Okay, and I will remove this from here. Simply save it. Now if I reload this page, so I will remove this breadcrumbs also from here. Okay, so that is going to be layouts slash sidebar, and if I reload it I get here the add new address. I will simply remove that from here, and now we have our address here. So now we have to type in here our address, city, state, zip code, phone number, and then the country. Okay, so I will create here the state variables for all these fields. Okay, so street, city, state, zip code, phone number, and country. Let me type that here quickly. So const street, then set street, that is going to be use state, and then I have to add these on my fields. So first of all, the address or the street, you can see say that street. Okay, then after the placeholder I will add that value, that is going to be street, and then on change I will add here set street, and that is going to be e dot target dot value. Okay, and I will add that on these both on all fields. Okay, so now I have added this on all fields on change, and now I create my submit handler here. So on submit, I will use here submit handler. So I will create one here. So I will simply type here const submit handler e, then e dot prevent default. Okay, and I create here my object that is called new address. Okay, and I will pass in here the street, city, state, zip code, phone number, and then the country. Okay, and then I will simply log here the new address. So log here new address, simply save it. And now if I go back, so use state is not defined, we have to import that from here. So use state, save it. And you are importing a component and needs a use state. It's only working client component. Okay, so you have to make that client component. So use client, save it. And now if I type here like something just to show you here, now you can add the validation if you want. Okay, because I will not add that. If you want to add the validations for the phone number and other, you can add that, but I have also created a separate video on how to validate forms with Formic in React. You can also watch that on my channel. Okay, so if I click here add, okay, and I go to the inspect on the console, I have here my object. We have here the city, country, phone number, state, street, and zip code. Okay, so all values are here. Now we simply have to add that in my database. Okay, so now we have to import the add new address from this auth context. Okay, so what I will do here is I will simply type here const. I will get the error. I will get here add new address. Okay, and then the clear errors. So I will import that with the use context, and I will pass in here the auth context. Okay, so I will call this function and pass that new address in here like this. Simply save it. And now I have to get the we have to import the use context as well. Okay, so I will get a fake address. So from here, this fake address, I will copy this and I will add that here for the city. I will add this for the state. I will add this Pennsylvania. For the zip code, I will add here this. For the phone number, I will add this. Again, you can add the validation if you want. I have created a separate video on how to validate the forms. You can watch that on my channel. And for the country, I will select here United States. Okay, and now if I click here add, so please enter in number. Okay, so this is a number field. Okay, or you can make that string if you want. If I click here add, so I close this from here, and now I think so my address is created. Okay, and what I do is I create an endpoint to get all my addresses. So I go to the backend in the controllers, in the address controllers. I will copy this from here. I'll type here get addresses, and I will type here address dot find. It will find all the addresses, and I will return that here. Save it, and I go to the pages in the address. I will create a new get with the get addresses like this. Simply save it, and now if I simply go here, you can see that here I get here the list of all addresses, and here is my address. So I have to display this address on here. Okay, and for that I go to my user. I have here user addresses component that will display all the users. Okay, I copy that from here. Okay, go back and I close this from here, and also this, go to my components in the user, create a new file that is called user addresses.jsx, and I put that here, and we have to import the link from next/link. Okay, that is going to be href. Save it. And now I go to my auth. On the profile we have to display that, and we have to import the user addresses from this. Save it. If I go back and if I reload this page, you can see that here we get here the one address. So now I have to get all the addresses from my backend and display that here. So what I will do is I will go back here. I go to my app, me, and then in here we have page.jsx. So here I will get all the addresses. So I type here const get addresses, okay, and then I will simply type here const data, that is going to be await axios.get, and I will type here the endpoint, so process.env.api underscore URL, okay, and then slash API slash address, okay, and then I will simply return from here the data dot addresses, okay. So I will call that here, make this async, then const addresses is going to be await get addresses, okay, and I will pass these addresses here. Save it. And now I go to my components. In the auth we have profile, we'll get that here, okay, and then I will pass that in the user addresses. Save it. And now in the user addresses we have here my addresses, so I will simply type here this and log that, so log and put that here. Save it. Now if I reload this page, go to the inspect on the console, I have here the user addresses. You can see that here. You just have to loop through and display that here, okay. So I go back and I will remove these lines, I will remove these brackets, and I type here addresses dot map, and for each address I have to display this markup, okay. So I will move this entire link component inside here, and that is going to be the address dot underscore id, and also we are using here map, so we have to give here a key, so the key is going to be this address dot id, okay, and then we have to display here the street, okay, so address dot street, so I copy that, and then the city, then the state, then the zip code, then the country, and then the phone number, okay. Save it. And now if I go back, you can see that here we get here the street, city, state, zip code, country, and for the phone number, that is phone number, so this is the phone number of the user, okay. So in this way we can display all the address of the users. If I add one more here, let me add just type here reload this page, and let's get one more fake address here, so I will copy this. If I click here add, okay, so if I reload this page, okay, so now we get here the second address of the user, and in this way you can add more addresses if you want, and it will work fine, okay. So add, you can see that this address is also added here. So in this way we can add multiple address of one user. I hope that you understand. So that's the end of this video. If you have any question, you can post that in the comment section. I will definitely reply there, and you can also find the source code of this video in the description of this video as well, okay. And now in my next video, first of all, I will protect my backend API routes from unauthenticated users, because right now you can see that here we are simply getting our if I go to the app in the page, you can see that here we are getting the addresses like this. Okay, but we also have to make sure that user is authenticated, and we also have to protect our backend routes. Okay, so what I will do is in my next video I will protect my backend routes. All right, so I will see you in the next lecture.